I do a show about the deeper meanings held within anime, right? Right. Well, every now and again a show comes along, and through the course of watching it, I get an understanding of the show. And then something happens to completely shift my view of it. It's frustrating from almost every possible perspective. It hurts the story, it makes the characters seem less sincere, it weakens the message, and of course it absolutely slices the philosophy. That in mind, I thought I would point out my personal list of the worst offenders of this particular sin. This is my top 5 anime that missed their own point. Now keep in mind, I'm going to spoil a good bit of all these shows. So if you want to see one, or you're watching one right now, or maybe it just looks interesting, just stop watching it, alright? Anyway, to start us off, number 5, Naruto. Clocking in at number 5 is Naruto, a show I've admittedly not seen much of, but let me explain why I stopped watching. Naruto set up from the beginning that the keys to being a good ninja were those generic qualities of hard work and never giving up. If you can't beat an opponent, you need to train harder to do so. Fair enough and a good message for a kid's show, right? Now, what character exemplifies hard work more than any other? Well, Rock Lee, of course. He is set up from the start as the hardest training ninja around. But what happens to him anytime he fights? He just loses and loses. I can't think of one fight he wins. It's frustrating to watch him push himself so hard under the brink of death just to lose again and again. My biggest point of contention is the contradiction that this creates with the series up to that point. Rock Lee's life seems to ring more along the lines of, it doesn't matter how hard you train, there will always be someone with more natural talent that won't have to work as hard, and will do better. Thanks for that uplifting message, Naruto. Number 4, Please Twins. Please Twins was kind of a sequel to Please Teacher. It takes place in the same area and has some of the same characters show up, but really it's a whole new story. The quick and dirty of the story is that we have a student who lives by himself and by a series of rapid life-changing experiences ends up living with 2 girls, one of whom is his sister, but he doesn't know which one. The meat of the story for me was the fact that he had an attraction for both girls and they had an attraction for him, but they all fought their urges so that they didn't end up doing anything romantic with a sibling. However, at the end of the series, when he does find out who his sister is, all of a sudden he wants to be lovey-dovey and romantic. And worse, the girl who he found out was his sister starts getting very touchy-feely with the excuse of, it's okay, we're siblings. Where was all that restraint? Why would a relationship go into hyperdrive just because suddenly it's not incest? There are a great many things that could have been done here. Personally, I would have ended it with none of the characters getting romantically involved. It would speak volumes of his character to continue to treat and respect both girls as a sibling despite an attraction. At least that seems like the route that would generate more thought to me. Anyway, number 3. So I was going to put Air here, guys, but after a discussion with a close friend, I've decided that perhaps it was simply my interpretation of the show that causes it to miss its own point. In lieu of Air, though, I've decided Pokemon is an apt choice. So the world of Pokemon. That is, you're supposed to love and care for the little creatures, right? The show makes a point of showing that people who abuse Pokemon are bad. But what do you do with Pokemon? How do you catch them? Making them beat each other up? What kind of insane level of hypocrisy is this? So I'm not gonna beat a dead horse here, guys. I think we all understand the silliness here. Moving on. Number 2. 80 Police. That is the 1999 spinoff, not the fantastic 80 Police Files, which is amazing. For the unaware, 80 Police is a prequel to Bubblegum Crisis. It's about a special branch of police that fight a special type of robot called boomers. Now, the series misses the ball in a lot of ways. It fails to realize the interesting potential of a police force that fights robots. It's boring to watch. It doesn't address any of the interesting ideas that its predecessor 80 Police Files brought up, and it's just a bland, samey mess. It's actually my least favorite anime by a fairly wide margin. At least tragically bad anime I can laugh at, but this, it's just meh. My biggest point of contention, however, is this. The show makes a point to say that being a member of the 80 Police is dangerous, not only to oneself, but to one's family as well. This in mind, in one episode, a family man finds out that his wife and child are in danger of being blown up by a bomb if he can't make it to them in time. Tension mounts, and he doesn't make it to them in time. But the bomb turns out to be a fake. But when he goes to examine it, it explodes! I guess it was real after all, and it kills him. Now, there are just so many things wrong with that. First of all, it's just gutless, cowardly writing. The bigger impact would have been to kill the wife and kid, sad and brutal though it may have been. The emotional effect would have been tons higher. Next, what was the point of creating all that false tension? But really, the thing that gets me is how could someone plan a bomb to work like that anyway? And I'm kind of foaming at the mouth, so let's move on. To my number one anime that missed its own point, by quite a bit, is Neon Genesis Evangelion. Now I get a lot of requests for this one. Let me run down a few facts for you guys right fast. Throughout the entire series, what is Shinji saying? I mustn't run away, I mustn't run away, I mustn't run away. I have to face my problems, I will overcome, and so on and so forth. What are the supporting characters doing? In their own way, they're trying to get Shinji to act on his own to accept the world around him. The entire world is at stake, and Shinji is one of the only people effectively able to defend it. And he makes progress as well. We see him grow, become more independent, become stronger, make choices, be happy. But after all of this, how does the series end? Those last 2 episodes. Well, the big mess of postmodernism. Quick philosophy lesson, guys. Postmodernism is an artistic and philosophical movement seeking to show that reality is a construct of the mind and not grounded in anything substantial. It's all that you are no more or no less than yourself stuff. Now, what sort of philosophy would the rest of the anime point to? Well, considering all that was said to Shinji about overcoming obstacles that he did in fact overcome, all the problems his friends face, the general awfulness of his life, all this points to realism, specifically what we could even call kitchen sink realism, which refers to a story wherein the main character is an angry young man and lives in a harsh situation. Now, both are interesting philosophies and worth considering, but here's the thing. If my reality is a construct of my head, if I am no more or no less than myself, what is the point of overcoming anything? There's no reason to seek improvement or betterment or even try to move forward. There just isn't. The power of realism in a story is that there is an objective reality to overcome, that there are things greater than yourself. This is the reason that Gurren Lagann felt so epic. This is why Welcome to the NHK felt so smart. Objective reality is necessary for themes of overcoming. Neon Genesis Evangelion handled this so poorly, and it's such an easy fix. If every time Shinji would have tried to overcome, he had failed. If every time he tried to not run away, he ran away. If every time he tried to defend something, it was destroyed, and everyone he tried to connect with rejected him. If he always ended up at square zero at the end, would he not only have more of a reason to whine, but also a reason to accept reality as a construct of his own mind? And that's the way I see it anyway, guys. So, tell me what you guys think. Tell me your top 5 animes that missed their own points. Give me the reasons why. Let me know what you think. I have a big announcement for next time, guys, so be ready for that, and keep thinking.